Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ricky Speaks Sport with me, your host, Ricky Hayward-Williams. So let's get straight on into it. England have made it to the World Cup in 2026 in the US and Mexico next year. Congratulations to them. They beat Latvia 5-0 in a game that was pretty boring, if I'm honest. I know we scored 5 goals, but it's one of those situations where England are damned if they do and damned if they don't. If we lose that game, all hell breaks loose and it's a crisis. If we win it like we did, England was supposed to win the game. We scored 5 goals. So, you can only beat who were put in front of you, and they did it well. They broke down a team that were playing the low block for the majority of the game, scoring 5 goals. Obviously, Anthony Gordon got on the score sheet. Harry Kane bagged himself a couple of goals. They scored their own goal. And I'm really happy for Eberechi Eze getting on the score sheet. But I've got a question that I want to bring to you guys. I'm seeing a lot of talk around Harry Kane, and I did a lot of work for some online companies last year. I was at Box Park in Wembley, Box Park in Croydon for a lot of the big England games during Euro 2024, and I got a lot of reaction from England fans around Harry Kane. Now, last summer, obviously, I think now that everything has come to pass and we kind of know a bit more, I think most of us would agree that Harry Kane was injured during Euro 2024. But because, Gareth Southgate was adamant that he is our number one striker, he should play. At the time, us fans were just thinking Harry Kane looks miles off it. He didn't play very well. He did score. He scored 3 goals in the tournament, I think. 1 against Denmark, I think 1 against Slovakia, 1 against the Netherlands. But when we talk about Harry Kane, there's a lot of people that seem to downplay his ability, downplay his achievements. Let's not forget he's England's record goal scorer. I think it's 78 goals in 110 games for England. Absolutely incredible. Incredible stats. Now, some people will say, a lot of those games are against, lesser opposition, no disrespect. The minnows of Europe, shall we say. So a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit for that. We've seen what he's done since he's been over in the Bundesliga, scoring a bag of goals over there, doing great numbers. That takes some doing. That shows the mettle of the man. That shows what he's made of, in my humble opinion. But a lot of people do kind of give a bit of needle, give a bit of... It's not disrespect, but I feel like it's a lack of respect to Harry Kane and his ability and his achievements. In my humble opinion, he's a top player. He showed his worth over a number of years, but maybe it's down to the fact that he rarely, or has rarely, arguably, showed up in those massive moments, in those massive games for England. And sometimes for his clubs as well. So, Tottenham went a long time without a trophy while Harry Kane was their main man. They got to a Champions League final. Again, I think in hindsight, we found out that he was probably injured in that game. But, all we can do is just judge him by what we've seen and what has come to pass. So in that respect, I kind of understand the argument where a lot of people are saying, he doesn't show up in the big games, doesn't help his teams get over the line in those big moments. World-class players do it on the biggest stage, in the biggest moments, when the pressure is at its highest. And that's pretty much what makes them world-class to a lot of people. There are a lot of factors what go into making a player world-class, but I think that is one of them. Doing it in the big moments, in the biggest matches, with the biggest pressure. So I guess that's kind of where this rhetoric around Harry Kane seems to come from, maybe. But for me personally, I think he's a world-class player. I think he's top draw. And I think England, no disrespect to any of our strikers, putting Harry Kane to the side, the drop-off in quality, I think is there for everyone to see. I think it's quite a big drop-off. Ollie Watkins, who I'm a big fan of, he first really came to my attention when he put a few goals past my team, Liverpool, during lockdown. I think we lost to Villa. Was it 7-1 or 7-2? I forget because I tried to erase it from my brain because that was a bad time. Yeah, Ollie Watkins came into my knowledge, into my awareness with that game against Liverpool. And I followed his career closely since then. I love strikers. I always look out for strikers. I always look out to see how they, how they take their goals. If they're literally just, goals on the end of a stick. Are you just like literally there to score goals? Do you bring other people into play? Can you assist? Can you play with your back to goal? I love to see what they can do. And Ollie Watkins is a good player. He's not Harry Kane. He's quicker than Harry Kane, potentially. So he's got the ability to run in behind, which Harry Kane can't do anymore. But Harry Kane's strengths lie elsewhere. We know that. He's really good in the build-up. But Ollie Watkins, as we saw in the Euros, is a great finisher. If you put the ball in dangerous areas, he can finish. But, he's not at that level of Harry Kane. Going back to the game. Great win again for England. Well done. We've booked our place in the World Cup 2026. That's great work. But I'm looking at how Tuchel's gone about things, and I've got to say, I like him. And I like the way that he's managing the England team. I like the way that he's managing the landscape of England. And he's, I feel like whenever a new manager comes into a job in any capacity, whether it's like club football or whether it's international football, I do feel like they kind of set their stall out quite early and try and stamp their authority on the situation at hand. And they kind of put a statement out there, or they put a kind of feeling out there that they're going to be a certain type of manager, or they're going to have a certain viewpoint, or have certain morals, or have a certain code of conduct. With Gareth Southgate, I think he famously said that he was going to pick players on form. And that came back to bite him in the butt quite a bit during his tenure, because there were obviously players that weren't playing or weren't first teamers for their clubs. I think Raheem Sterling had a period where he wasn't getting in the first team at Man City. But ultimately, whenever he played for England, the guy showed up. And the guy was arguably one of our best players whenever he played in tournament football, especially. Harry Maguire as well. Harry Maguire, we know, had a bit of a torrid time at Manchester United for a while, where, even his own fans at club level turned against him. But Gareth had faith in him, and rightly so, because Harry Maguire, top professional, good defender. I think the only thing Harry Maguire lacks as a top player is pace. But I think, if you know how to use Harry Maguire systematically, you can get the best out of him. And he's a very, very good defender. And he's always showed up for England. He's always done his best, and he's always been really, really good. I've never had any complaints with Harry Maguire for England. So yeah, that was Gareth Southgate. He was going to pick players on form, but it did come back to bite him, like I say, with the Harry Maguire situation, with the Raheem Sterling situation. There were a few more as well. But I think Tuchel, he might get away with it. I think his code of conduct is the team is everything. Individuals need to kind of like move to the side. It's not about the individual. Just because you're a star player, just because you might be the star player for your club, just because you might play for an elite club, doesn't mean that you're going to get into the team at the drop of a hat. It doesn't mean that you're an automatic starter. And we've seen that with Jude Bellingham. Obviously, there are mitigating circumstances. Jude's been injured. He's making his way back from fitness, back from an operation. I did it in my last video. We spoke about that. But I do believe that Tuchel might be a man of his word. I do believe that he is all about the team and the balance in terms of personalities on the pitch, ability on the pitch, cohesiveness as well. And I also think that he's thinking about just the harmony in the team. Obviously, we know Gareth, that was a big thing for Gareth. He was very good at building camaraderie amongst the players and the press as well, getting everybody to just be in this together, in this kind of journey together. And I feel like Tuchel's doing the same thing, but he's made that his main focus. So he's saying, look, I want to keep a winning team. If we've got a winning team, why would I change it? But listen, whether or not you like him, love him, loathe him, or are unconvinced by him, I think it's really hard to say that Harry Kane isn't world class, in my humble opinion. He's done it in the Premier League, he's done it in the Bundesliga, he's won golden boots at tournaments, and he's England's record goal scorer. What more else can he do apart from help England win a trophy? And maybe he still can. He's not done yet. But listen, let me know how you guys feel about all of that in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to smash a like and subscribe as well. And I will see you in the next one. I'm Ricky Hayward-Williams. Get in the game.